Welcome to Animorphs Anonymous, the podcast where we casually discuss the Animorphs one book at a time.
I'm Kaycie.
And I'm Alex.
And we're here to talk you through the plot of each book.
But more accurately, take you on tangent trips, factoid forays, and say, well, actually, as much as possible.
Join us on the 1st and the 15th of each month, and we'll take you along on our mission.
And we promise to have you back under the 2-hour time limit.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have a grave announcement to make. Incredible as it may seem, both the observations of science and the evidence of our eyes lead to the inescapable assumption that those strange beings who landed in the Jersey farmlands tonight are the vanguard of an invading army.
Silence. They were greeted with silence. Oh boy.
I just stared at your face.
I did that on purpose.
Did you? I didn't.
You made this big production. Are you ready? And I said, yes. Silence. Just set everything up. Anyway, hi. Welcome back to our nameless Animorphs podcast.
Still as yet to be named.
We don't have a name yet, so bear with us.
Well, by the time we post it, we'll have a name.
Yeah, true. Okay.
We'll edit that in.
Okay.
Maybe.
Sounds good.
I don't know. We'll figure it out before these are live.
Yes.
One hopes.
All right.
She said expectantly, staring.
Something will happen. Anyway, I'm Kaycie.
I'm Alex. And we're here.
Yay! We're here.
We're here recording episode 2 of our podcast about Animorphs.
Oh, yeah. All right, so our first order of business is that we need to retcon on the previous discussion about the Battlemorphs, and we need to talk about that a little bit more, because, what did we decide? We wanted to have Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Land, air, and sea.
Oh, okay.
No, I like Earth, Wind, and Fire
Earth, Wind,
better.
and Fire.
I was wrong. We're gonna retcon what we said a minute ago.
Oh my god.
And we're now doing
That was an honest mistake, I swear.
Fire.
Oh my god.
It was the best mistake I've ever heard.
Oh, Jesus.
And, what would a fire morph even be?
Oh, good question. I don't know, maybe, like, something that spits acid?
Like that one beetle that
burning?
shoots that super hot fire acid out of its butt?
I thought that was a blessed-ended Scroot from Harry Potter. That's a real animal?
Actually, yeah. No, there is a real animal that shoots out, like, liquid fire out of its butt. It's like this beetle.
Oh, great. Okay.
Blasted.
Well, hell.
Oh, that's way better.
Yeah. That sounds amazing.
Wait.
What?
Can we have Harry Potter animals as our morphs? Because I'm definitely choosing a dragon then.
No, that would be too easy. Dragon's a fire animal.
Dang it. A dragon is a fire animal.
Okay, we would skip the fire animal, because I don't know what that would be. That's not a mythical creature.
And wind would be a bird.
Wind would be a bird or flying apparatus of some sort. Wait.
Flying cloud.
Insect. It could be an insect. Insects fly.
That's true. Insects do fly.
Or a flying squirrel, perhaps.
Ooh,
Very
or a
vicious.
flying lizard.
Oh, yeah. Or a fish.
Oh,
There's
flying
those
fish.
flying fish.
Yeah, that does fly.
Oh my god. None of these would be good battle morphs.
What if a flying fish was your battle morph? You'd be the most useless Animorph of all time. Oh my god.
But what if you could, like, morph into a school of fish? Like, that doesn't make sense, but it would be really cool.
It would be.
Oh, man.
I'd try it.
There's a Pokemon like that. It, like, appears as one fish, or it morphs into its school form, where it's, like, a bunch of fish, and it grows, like, 20 times its size, and it's terrifying.
There's also a Pokemon that's an ice cream, so...
Okay, that's very fair. Very fair.
That's a thing.
Okay, so, your proposed battle morphs of different varieties.
So, my bird one, I mean, I'm gonna go with Red-tailed Hawk. It's my favorite. They're my babies.
Your babies.
My babies. So that's that. My land one, see, I'm having a lot of troubles now with my land one. So let's skip to my water one, which of course would be an orca.
Oh yeah,
Of
that's a good one.
course.
That's a good one. That is very good.
It's the only one. We're gonna have to come back to my land one still.
Oh shit. Okay. So I have changed my land one, I think. I don't know if I've changed it, but I thought of another one that would be real cool, and that is a moose, because I've seen one moose in the wilds of Alaska, and it was just like walking along the side of a freeway, so it was fine. But like, everybody knows if you're from Canada or Alaska or someplace with moose, is that you don't fuck with moose.
You don't.
Like, they may look big and stupid and have big dumb noses, but they're apparently very terrifying.
They have wonderful little noses.
They're so cute,
I'd
but
pet
they'll
it.
fuck you up.
They will.
And they lick salt off your car, which is interesting. That's how they get their super moose strength.
Oh, no.
So yeah, like a big bull moose, that would be a little scary. Actually,
That'd be a lot scary.
A cow moose with a baby is about as scary, if not more so.
What if we morphed and those were things? Like, I had to morph a baby moose and you had to morph the mom moose.
So that my instincts would kick in?
Yeah.
It would have to be like a specific moose mother and child, I feel like.
Yeah,
Do you think a cow would like take care of a
oh, for sure. Any baby.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any baby.
Can totally. They totally would take care of any baby.
Okay.
It'd be like the fastball special for X-Men. Like between Colossus and Wolverine.
Oh my god.
That was a terrible example.
Oh my god.
The Animorphs version of the fastball special.
Oh my god. Alright.
Where did this go?
I don't know.
How are we here?
I don't know. For my Airmorph, I would probably keep the Harpy Eagle, because that's fucking badass. And then, I don't know about Watermorph. Like, Orcas, that's a really good one. But I feel like I can't use it. Sperm Whale.
That's pretty badass.
I feel like they don't do much to,
they eat giant squids.
They eat giant squids, but they don't do much else with other things. Like, orcas will, like grab a penguin or a seal and, like, flip it around and skin it by, like, flipping it into the air repeatedly. Like, that's hardcore. Orcas
also flip sharks over to put them in that stasis state and then eat their livers out of their still alive bodies. So
yeah, that's like, you can't... Ugh. You can't get more intense than an orca.
Badass than an orca.
God.
I mean, you could.
I mean, great white shark.
They eat great white shark livers.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I want to be the shark from Deep Blue Sea.
Oh, yeah.
That hella smart, crazy...
And that would count because it's a mutant shark. So you'd get their DNA.
Oh my god.
So then you'd be able to blow up entire bases. Well, if you're doing that, can I be the orca from Orca the Killer Whale?
From Orca.
I want to hunt down Dumbledore.
That wonderful movie, Orca.
It's such a good movie.
Good God.
It's a terrible movie.
Okay.
Everything I just said was wrong. It's a terrible movie. Don't watch it.
Especially the end credits are bad.
With that song that plays.
Horrible song. Anyway, this has gone on forever. Thank you. We're going whale watching tomorrow.
Yay!
Why are there 3 copies of this?
Now that we have just described in detail how whales are like vicious creatures that hunt down great whites and eat their livers out of their still alive bodies, we're going whale watching tomorrow.
Yay!
Yay!
We don't know what we'll see. Something awesome, I'm sure.
A whale.
A whale.
Just one.
Just one whale.
Just one whale.
That would be worth the trip.
It would be. I wouldn't be disappointed by that at all.
Yes.
I feel like a hippo can't be my land one. I really like your moose one. That's a great one.
There's gotta be something.
I mean...
A bison? It's like a...
I would tell too many jokes about just saying, bye, son.
Bye, son!
So one that I thought was really badass that doesn't show up until the epilogue of the last book.
Oh.
But I'm just going to say it right now. It's a spoiler, but it's not really important to the plot. It's just kind of mentioned.
Okay.
Is that somebody gets a hyena morph.
Oh!
And they said, I know, right? That would be badass.
Ooh.
And then they'd like laugh like maniacs when they'd bite shit.
Oh man.
Yeah, so it was like this mental intimidation game too.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Aha.
Yeah, so that was really cool. What else? I just don't know.
All right, we're gonna go with that for now. This will probably be an ongoing
Every episode we'll redo our lineup.
Yeah, we'll just think of like better animals.
And then we'll
kick ass
eventually
with.
find our fire animal.
Oh my god.
Phoenix.
Komodo dragon.
Oh, I just saw an article the other day. Do you remember all the science guys in the 90s that said it was the bacteria in the Komodo dragon's mouth that would poison the animal when they'd bite them to kill them?
Yes.
They just discovered they actually have venom sacs. They legitimately are venomous.
Oh.
And now we know about Komodo dragons.
Cool. Yay!
Yay!
Komodo dragons are terrifying. And huge.
They're wonderful.
They'll kill you.
I love it when people walk them on leashes. I'm like, you're an idiot.
Who
I mean, it's always
that?
a zookeeper. Like,
Oh, okay.
It's not like a random.
It's not like a random person. Like, hey, Jim.
Hey, Jim. Nice dragon, yo. Oh, that'd be great.
Oh, man.
Now I want to do that. Now I want to be that guy.
Okay. Do it. Actually,
All right.
I wonder what kind of crazy permits you would need. Anyway, we're getting way off track.
Well, I mean, you can buy a giraffe for like, like $20,000 if you have the right permits.
That's true.
It's not even that much.
Uh,
Anyways.
okay.
All right.
We're going to talk about
Now to the task at hand.
to the Animorph mobile.
To the Animorph.
To the mystery machine.
To the mystery Animorphmobile.
Oh my god. Oh my god, they are like, I just realized they're like the Scooby Squad kind of. Like Tobias is Scooby Doo.
Oh god.
And Rachel is like
Shaggy. Jake is
Fred and like
those are all the names
Cassie
I know.
is Velma and oh my god.
Velma's the one with the glasses, that's right. And then Daphne? Is it Daphne?
Yeah, Daphne.
Okay.
Oh,
Marco
man.
is Daphne. Oh god.
Anyway.
Anyways.
That's a weird comparison.
That was a very weird comparison.
Okay, we're gonna talk about Animorphs number 2, the Visitor. Who is the Visitor? Is that the cat? Like to the house? You know? Like I'd been wondering that ever since I finished the book. Who is the Visitor? Like the invasion I get, but I don't know.
I guess Rachel's the visitor.
In the house?
She's visiting.
Okay.
It's
I'll buy
the
that.
best I could come
I'll
up
buy
with.
that for now.
I'll buy that.
Okay. So what happens in
Well,
the Visitor?
We start off quite literally guns ablaze.
Guns up. Oh yeah.
Where
It's like literal? Yeah.
literally
Okay.
in the first page or 3 of the book, what happens is they're all flying in bird morph, and it's Rachel's. It's the normal opening of like, I can't tell you who I am or where I'm from, and these are all my friends and their characteristic traits.
Yep.
And so we get a reintroduction every chapter, every book, which is awesome. And then right after Rachel says something like, I'm a normal kid, then again, I guess normal kids aren't eagles. And then they're all flying and hanging out. And Tobias immediately challenges Rachel to a dive. And they go careening at the ground.
It's a dive date.
It's a dive date.
Except everyone else is there too, so it's kind of
Well, yeah, it's kind of like a double date, but then Marco's like the fifth
the
wheel.
fifth wheel.
Marco's the worst.
Oh.
So anyways, that actually, in the TV show, I'll just say a funny thing right here. There's the episode where they all go to the school dance. And
Oh,
I
no.
know. They all start pairing off, and at the end of it, Marco and Axe are sitting next to each other, and Axe keeps looking at Marco, and Marco's like, no.
Oh.
And he's like, one dance, and I lead. And then Marco and Axe dance together awkwardly.
Oh, that's amazing.
It's kind of adorable and kind of weird.
Aww.
But it is pretty
I love
funny.
that.
I love Axe at all times. Anyways,
Wow.
back to this book. We've already gone off track by
man.
page 3.
Yeah.
So they're all flying around and having a good time. They go into this dive. They go careening at the ground, and suddenly there's like bullets whizzing past them. So
They dodge it like Neo in the Matrix.
they do dodge it. They're like, as soon as the muzzle flashes, then dodge left. And so Rachel does, and she's like, oh, my instincts are taking over. It's like she lets the eagle do the dive,
Right.
and then she takes over to dodge bullets, which is pretty badass.
Yes.
So next thing they end up doing is dive bombing the hillbillies.
Oh, also, Rachel makes some comment about, like, I can't believe those guys are shooting at me. I'm an endangered species, because she's a bald eagle. And I was just like, I remember when bald eagles were endangered?
I do, after the DDT scare.
Yeah.
Do we want to start talking about Rachel Carson and Silent Spring?
Oh my god. I don't know, do we?
I mean, we could. It wasn't a scare. DDT was terrible.
I mean, it was. Totally.
Yeah, need to regulate that.
But
it's still a problem in South America because it's not regulated down there. That's why we have a lot of migratory species like broadwing hawks having issues.
Aw, babies.
I know.
But eagles are not endangered.
They are
anymore.
no longer endangered.
They're they're everywhere in Alaska. They just like sit on telephone poles like crows.
And even on the Mississippi too, by Iowa.
Yeah. I see them.
Yeah.
In Minnesota. I mean, I don't live there.
Not anymore.
Not either. Yeah, it's true. We don't live anywhere.
We don't live anywhere.
You'll never know.
We can't tell you who we are.
Oh boy.
What an awesome thing to be able to say though. Like
eagles
to
are no
date
longer...
it from the 90s. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they're no longer endangered.
Yay!
Yay!
They're not extinct too, which is more than we can say for some other animals since the 90s.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if we're going with a positive spin, let's keep it to eagles.
Okay.
Yay!
Eagles.
They're not endangered.
Yay!
So, they're so not endangered that what happens is Rachel goes and dive bombs a bunch of hillbillies. She steals a gun from them.
Yeah.
Steals a rifle.
Yeah.
And more importantly, Marco steals the beer can from the guy's hand.
And crushes it in his... Was he an osprey?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's an osprey.
In
Crushes it in his
zygodactyl talons.
I have this mental image. You know how ospreys like turn their legs sideways when they're on a fish and they look like they're surfing? I'm imagining Marco doing that with a beer can.
That would be awesome.
That would be awesome.
And it would be even cooler if it was like facing behind him so all the beer trail is spraying up behind him.
Yeah. He's like on a hoverboard or something.
On a beer hoverboard across the sky. So that's what happened. Picture that clearly in your mind.
Yeah, Rachel flying away with a
holding a
rifle.
She mentioned she was the only one that was big enough to hold that rifle.
Right.
And so she's flying away.
And she throws it into the ocean.
Yeah, that's the other thing. She instantaneously flies a mile out over the ocean. Well, I mean, I know it's not instantaneous, but it like goes from like, I stole a gun to I threw it out a mile into the ocean. That is a lot of flying.
That's a long way.
And not very many thermals.
Yeah.
But, you know, she probably did it through sheer willpower alone.
Or she exaggerated about how far.
Maybe the current took it there.
Yeah.
She's a badass anyways.
Yeah.
The first few pages, she steals a gun, throws it into the ocean, makes some quips about how this guy shouldn't have guns. Marco makes a joke about underage drinking because the guy looks underage.
Yep. Yeah,
it's fantastic.
It's great. And then they all fly to a church.
Yep, it all goes south from here. I meant that in terms of the book, not the church. That was not a commentary on my feelings on religion.
Okay.
I just meant this book's gonna get so much worse.
Okay, so they fly to the church.
And they demorph.
They've all figured out how to morph in their morphing suits now.
Yeah, but the girls did it first. Remember, because girls are better than boys. Anyways, as they're demorphing, Cassie once again shows off and demorphs with her wings being the last thing to come in.
Oh, yeah.
And they say she looks like an angel, whereas everybody else, like Rachel, has chicken legs, and Marco is standing there looking like a boy, but with giant osprey feet.
Oh my gosh.
And in my head, what I imagined originally when reading this is that the wings grew with her body size, kind of like how Marco's feet grew to be like giant osprey feet. Mm-hmm. But rereading it, it said something about its 5-foot wingspan. And that's like, I mean, that's a big wingspan. But that's like the normal osprey size almost. Like,
oh, yeah, you're right.
So all of a sudden I'm realizing, like, it went from imagining Cassie standing there with giant, like, wings for arms that are, like, 20 feet long to her standing there with tiny little osprey, like, shoulder.
But remember, as they mentioned, Cassie weighs only 80 pounds.
Right.
And then, so who even knows?
And then Jake, ever the smart person, goes, "Can you fly like that? With your tiny little chicken wings hanging off your shoulders.
And no keel.
Nothing to attach
and
that
no
muscle
hollow
to.
bones. And yeah.
And then Cassie laughs. I weigh 80 pounds. I'm like, dude, I wish I weighed 80 pounds. Stupid 12-year-old.
Oh.
So, that's where we got the stats on Cassie's weight from the last episode, by the way. In case anyone was wondering.
Like, I'm only commenting on it because, like, that feels very tiny to me, but I do remember that they're,
very
like,
tiny.
12. But I don't know.
As a 12-year-old?
As a 12-year-old? I don't know.
I don't remember how
Like,
much I weighed when I was 12.
I'm pretty sure I was almost at my full height by 12.
What was I even doing at 12? I was, what, in 6th grade?
7th grade. What was that, 2000? Some undetermined amount of 2000.
I have no idea what that would be, but I remember myself in 7th grade, and I remember being more than 80 pounds.
Okay.
Like, I was like built like a tank, but I was more than 80 pounds.
Anyway, I just picture Cassie as being like 5'0". Like,
I agree with that. She would be a very tiny 12-year-old.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like, 80 pounds is more like 1st or 2nd grade, not like
1st or 2nd grade.
3rd
Really?
or 4th grade. 80 pounds is like not
I don't
a
know.
lot.
I feel like this might be something to look up.
How fat are kids?
How much do 12-year-olds weigh?
That's
okay. The average height for a 12-year-old girl is 59 inches. The average weight is 93 pounds.
so she was shorter and tinier.
Yeah, but
Alright.
not too far off, I guess.
She's not. Her growth chart levels are slightly below average.
Okay. So it's not out of control.
It's not completely out of control.
Okay.
We were close.
Anyway,
She just hadn't hit her growth spurt yet.
apparently.
Plus, she helped out a lot with the chores. She probably kept really lithe.
Yeah.
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 Anyway,
Active lifestyle.
now that we've talked about this
Wow.
for entirely too long.
All right.
Oh, man. So we kind of jump right back into the Animorphs, where they are in regards to this battle. And Marco is still very reluctant. He doesn't want to do this again. He's there to help out Jake, kind of like he said in the first book.
Because they're best friends.
Because they're best friends for life.
Bromance.
And Tobias doesn't really have a choice anymore because he's a bird.
Oh
He's
yeah,
so fly.
and they like when they're changing back, they kind of accidentally kind of bring that up in a very insensitive way.
They do.
Yeah.
They do. And I think it's one of those things where they keep saying things and then being like, damn it, he's going to take that the wrong way.
Yeah.
But to be totally fair to Tobias, he never makes any snide comments. And
Yeah.
they even mention that actually in the book where Rachel says something about how flying is nice, and then Tobias goes like, yeah, but so's like sitting on the couch with a bag of chips.
I made a note. I think that's later because it's
It probably is late. It's in this book though, so it's not a spoiler technically on a technicality.
Yes, and it's totally incidental. Tobias mentioned a can of pop, which the term pop is very region exclusive as far as like a term. Like a lot of places use soda or Pepsi, but pop is very like. I just wonder if that's a clue as to their location, or if that's like K.A. Applegate's kind of way of saying
Where
soda
is
pop.
Well, Kaycie Applegate was writing these, I believe, in Minnesota at the time.
Really?
She was writing them there because she
I was about to say we say pop in Minnesota.
Okay, because she goes to the Raptor Center, and that's how she does her research.
I've been there.
Of course you
Or
have.
have I? You'll never know.
I've been to Minnesota once or twice.
Which you think Minnesotans would say soda because Minnesota. God, my accent's coming out. This is terrible.
Not what I would have thought at all.
Oh my gosh.
I grew up kind of all over, so I use soda pop.
I see. Okay, looks like, according to this map that I've pulled up, so pop is mostly. Oh, okay.
The website. Okay, should we say websites? Are we allowed to do that?
It's popversussoda.com.
They didn't pay us to say that.
Yeah.
We just need their information.
It's the first result on Google.
It's the Google number one result from Pop versus Soda is popversussoda.com.
Oh boy.
How's that for SEO?
So pop is pretty limited to the upper half of the United States, except for a little bit of Wisconsin and the entire East Coast. Mm-hmm. Soda is the kind of the 13 colonies area, a little bit of Illinois, Michigan, and what is that? Arizona, California?
Looks like.
And then the South is Coke, of course, and then it's kind of a smattering in Alaska and other places. So, I don't know, West Coast? Oregon, Washington area? I'm still trying to figure this out, so...
I know, but I'm not going to say.
You know? Okay.
I do know.
Okay. Anyway, we're going off on a lot of tangents in this particular episode. We'll get through the plot eventually.
I like rationing through this, though, using the context clues to figure out where they are.
Gotta keep our audience interested.
Keep them guessing.
Keep them guessing.
Oh, man. All right. So, but yeah, Tobias mentions that, and it's pointed out that he says it in a way that's not he's not like, oh, boo-hoo, me, I don't get to sit on the side. So, you know, that's cool. Tobias is being cool so far. You know. Mm-hmm. That's good. Not much is said about Cassie in this one about how she feels yet.
Yeah.
She's more just the mediator. And then Jake has kind of, more so in the last book, we see him taking on this reluctant leader role at this point. Which later in the book, we see him really get his first kind of big leader victory, I think. I'll bring that up later. Oh, man. And so Marco and Rachel continue the relationship of constantly getting on each other's nerves, which is hilarious. And
they have some good banter.
They have some really good banter. I really appreciate it because Marco is like, Rachel gets him good sometimes. And what I really truly appreciate about Marco's character is when somebody gets him good, he doesn't get upset like a lot of people who are like the class clowns kind of. Yeah. He's like, damn, you got
respect.
Me. Respect. Mad respect.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yep. They continue that. Oh man, I have Alex notes about this.
Oh boy.
Don't read them.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. I actually have a lot of notes to skip past about this because I have very strong feelings about the Marco and Rachel relationship that I need to discuss with you at a later date.
Okay.
Oh, and then one thing that really cracked me up was there was this very American moment of like, Rachel's like, we have to get them. We have to do it. We have to get them. And she was talking about the Yerk pool, and Marco's like, get who? Suspiciously. And Rachel goes, the French. And it just feels so like American to me.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
So that happened. And then Rachel starts bringing up gymnastics, which was a very big thing in this book. More so, like, I know she does gymnastics, and I always start out strong knowing she does gymnastics and it's an important part of her life, and then I completely forget that she does it. Every time I read these books. And she brought up Shannon Miller, who I had to Google, and it's Shannon Lee Miller Falconetti, and she's a former artistic gymnast, and she was like, in 1993 through 1996, she did important things. And then now she's like a lifestyle coach.
Okay.
I had to Google that, though. I had no idea who Shannon Miller was.
I mean, we were like 5 in the 90s, so. Yeah,
and I like hockey like a normal person.
I liked figure skating, but much later in life.
I liked figure skating later.
In any case, neither of us knew anything about gymnastics. And neither of us were in gymnastics like some other kids.
I'm the most inflexible person.
I'm very clumsy.
So anyways, neither of us were going to gymnast.
Yeah, so neither of us knew who Shannon Miller was.
No. So
but now we do.
Now we do. Something. We learn something every time we read these
books. The more
books.
You know.
The more you know. Okay. So all this great stuff happens. We have a lot of witty banter, blah, blah, blah. And then the next thing you know, Rachel, who is at gymnastics and having interactions with Melissa Chapman, which don't go well. Melissa Chapman's not very receptive. She's kind of weird and shady, and their friendship has fallen apart. Right after
and she's been acting weird in the past few months.
I wonder. If only she would join the sharing, she could have a community to support her.
Flying saucers.
No one believes in flying saucers.
Come to the sharing.
Come to the sharing. It's great.
We don't have flying saucers.
We do have flying saucers. What if that's their tagline? The sharing. We do not have flying saucers. Oh, God. That's not what the sharing tagline is. I don't know what it is, but it's not that.
We share because we care.
Oh, God. So to take an extremely dark turn, Rachel walks home and she
Oh,
almost
yeah.
gets kidnapped and murdered.
Oh yeah, she's walking home by herself, and some creep pulls up in a car and is like being really creepy and ew, very ew, very ew.
Very ew. And I wrote a lot about this because at the time when this happened, when I was reading this book, I was living in Canada, and we have a very, very strong, prominent stranger danger program. I remember as a kid reading this and being like, yeah, get him. And like,
God.
I was so supportive of him. I was like, if someone tried to kidnap me,
Like,
I would just
yeah.
turn around and scream at them, like pretend to be an elephant now.
Yeah.
Like I had a plan.
God. Like, if every woman could do that, like, freaking...
Every woman. Only women can morph in this new world that we're creating just this second.
Oh my God.
And whenever a man tried to kidnap, I guess a man or a woman, whenever anyone tried to kidnap them and murder them, they would just turn around.
Morph into some sort of...
Morph into something horrific.
Yeah.
Half morph it, not even full morph it.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
man.
it doesn't even have to be a scare tactic. You can morph into a cheetah and run the fuck away. You can morph into a bird and fly away. Or you can morph into a lion and claw their eyes out.
I was hoping you were going to say something about morphing into a horse so I could make a Sarah Jessica Parker joke. It didn't... Why? Oh no.
Oh my God.
So anyways, she half morphs into an elephant and turns around and scares the crap out of this guy, and he goes running off. And I have, reading this as an adult and like as an avid fan of like of true crime, I'm so horrified. Like, do you know what he could have done to her? I could be her mother now. And I have so many feelings.
Oh.
I couldn't be her mother. I'm not that old. I would have had to have a kid. But
She'd be your mother.
she'd be my mother. Rachel would be my mother.
So yeah, she half morphs into an elephant. The guy pees his pants and runs away. He doesn't pee his pants, but I hope
He could have.
He
She
could
didn't
have.
say
It
she
started to
didn't.
rain, so no one would ever know.
True.
And then the Chapmans show up. Melissa Chapman and her father, Chapman. I don't know his first name. I think it's just Chapman.
I think it's just Chapman.
Okay. Chapman, the assistant principal, controller man,
Mister is his first name.
pull up and offer her a ride home.
They do, and we don't know at this point if Chapman saw her half morph.
Right.
So it's terrifying.
Yes. Also, her shoes have broken.
Yes, which is problematic.
Yes.
But Rachel played that off super
Yeah,
cool.
that was smooth.
She's pretty
That was
smooth
smooth.
on occasion.
Yeah.
So she gets out of the car and they're like, "What happened to your shoes?" And Rachel's like, "I told you I had to go shopping."
Right, because earlier she invited Melissa to go shopping with her.
Melissa said no, and she didn't want to hang out with her. She's being shady.
Shady.
And this whole time, Rachel's very concerned that she's being a bad friend. And she's very concerned that she's not being loyal.
Right, because the others told Rachel to spy on Melissa because her father was a controller.
Right, and they wanted to get in on... They're like, go spy on Chapman by being Melissa's friend.
Right, and Rachel felt like a bad friend for doing that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because Rachel's super loyal, which... I got a little poetic about that later on, about Rachel's loyalty and how it ties her to the team and keeps her...
I have a question for you.
Yeah, let me know.
Okay, if the characters were in Hogwarts houses, what houses would they be
Oh, God.
in?
Well, Jake would be Gryffindor. Let's knock that right out of the... Marco would be Ravenclaw.
Really?
Yeah, he's really smart.
Well,
We take the smart ones in Ravenclaw. I am. No, that's... So, this is where it gets hard. Well, Cassie would be a Hufflepuff. Yeah, I feel like you disagree with every single choice I've
actually,
said.
yeah, I could see Cassie as a Hufflepuff since she's kind of the mediator. She's kind of like not very extreme personality. So yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I'll agree with that one for sure.
All right, so we have 1 out of 5.
Okay. Do you feel like any of them are Slytherin?
I feel like Rachel could be a Slytherin. I love her. She doesn't look evil, which is how you sort of Slytherin.
But like, I feel like she is all about kind of the badassery and kind of the glory in doing the right thing, even though the right thing can get her into trouble sometimes, which is very Gryffindor, I feel.
But she's also willing to do whatever it takes.
That's true.
And it changes based on what book you'd ask me.
Uh-huh.
If we're putting them in houses right now?
Okay, let's revisit this, like, later on in the series.
Okay.
Once, like, everyone
after the
kinda
David
gets
arc, let's come back to
Okay,
this.
that's a good idea. Wait, David?
No, you'll find out.
All right. I don't know anything!
After the David arc, we'll come back and revisit this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yet another tangent.
And also, we don't even have the full team yet.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Okay. All right. We're gonna
what
come back to that.
would Tobias be, though?
Well, I don't know. Let me think about that.
Okay. We'll revisit this.
Hogwarts houses. We'll come back to that.
Yeah, let's do it once when we have the full team together, and then once after the David arc, and then maybe once again.
Hogwarts houses. I'm writing that in my notes. All right. Anyway, back to the plot.
Back to the plot, where Rachel escapes stranger danger by becoming an elephant person.
Yes.
Gets in the car with Chapman. She's like staring at the back of his head, like, I know there's a yerk in there wrapped around your brain.
Gross.
Yeah, that's super gross. And Chapman's just kind of like blankly staring at her. She doesn't know if she's giving herself away. She's panicking. And then she gets super smooth at the end of it. Rachel's so cool.
So smooth.
She's so cool.
And then we get to meet some of Rachel's family, which is cool.
We do, her younger sisters. I think we only meet one at this time, right? We only meet Jordan. We're introduced... We know she has 2 younger sisters,
yes.
Jordan and Sarah. And we meet her mom, who we find out immediately is a lawyer, who's not a very good cook, and putting together a file for the case.
And is divorced from her father, who is a weatherman.
Right. And this is mentioned a couple times in the books, in this book, but it's not... Rachel's really well adjusted with it.
Seemingly, yeah.
She's seemingly, and it doesn't blow up in her face as a plot point in this book. Like,
yeah.
She's, like, well adjusted.
Sure.
Which is great. Yeah. So, and then her younger sisters are there. She does mention her younger sisters are more like her mom, and she's more like her dad. We haven't really met her dad yet, so it doesn't mean much now. Mm-hmm. But her mom seems like a really badass lady, so that's cool.
Badass lawyer lady.
Badass lawyer lady. And Jordan's pretty awesome, as we'll find out a little later in the book. Mm-hmm. She's a nice kid. They decide that to get into Chapman's house, since Rachel can't seem to crack the whole BFF thing.
Oh, right, yeah. She can't get in with Melissa. They gotta go to Plan B.
Which is invite everybody over to my house and look at pictures of my past and realize that, oh yeah, Melissa Chapman has a cat.
A cat?
Oh, man.
Speaking of cats, mine just jumped into my lap.
Yes, and we were talking about your particular cat earlier because she only has 3 legs.
She does.
And we were talking about how we could never use this to sneak into your house because if we tried to morph her, we'd have 4 legs.
It's true.
Would be immediately found out.
Because that's how DNA works.
Yeah. So... we can't ever sneak in here.
No.
Using morphing technology.
Also, Lena would probably attack herself because she hates cats.
But she couldn't... I mean,
what would happen,
we don't really
though?
know.
Will her mind explode?
Well, yeah, like later in this book when Fluffer McKitty meets Fluffer McKitty.
Oh my god.
Which, greatest name ever for a cat.
Oh my god, why?
What, you don't name your animals Fluffer Mick whatever the animal is?
I have some typos in mine, and his name is Flutter at several points.
Flutter.
Like Fluttershy.
Oh, what?
The pony.
Next pigeon I get, Flutter McPigeon.
Flutter McPigeon.
That's it. It's down in the books now. Has to happen.
Perfect.
Flutter McPigeon. Well, I mean, it can't be worse than Dr. Princess Kesha, PhD, which is the actual name of one of my pigeons.
Yep.
And the Kesha is with a $.
Yep.
In case anyone's wondering.
Because you thought Kesha was a girl.
Because you thought Kesha was a girl. He's a large male pigeon, the largest pigeon I have.
The most angry of all.
The most angry,
the most
conniving one.
pigeon. of them all.
Like, honestly, that should probably just be my air battle morph, because I'd win everything. Like, ha, a pigeon? No. This is Kesha. This pigeon. Oh, God. So, anyways, they realize that Melissa has a cat that she got for her birthday, and Rachel says a few years ago, and then gets very upset when, like, she says the wrong one. Oh, does that give us an age? Did she give us a...
Sorry, what?
Did she give us a school year that they got the cat?
Oh, they did mention something like that. That gave me the impression that everyone was 13 or 14.
Perfect.
But...
And 80 pounds.
So
we know their weights. We know their generic
We're getting
ages.
closer.
We're getting closer. We're gonna crack this one, guys.
Oh, boy.
Oh, God. I mean, they'll tell us eventually.
Will they?
We'll sort it out.
Okay.
Not explicitly, but we'll sort it out.
We'll figure it out.
We know they're not old enough to drive or even approach driving.
Except Marco.
Who's an excellent driver.
He is.
Oh, God. So they get the cat. They get Fluffer McKitty, or they're going to get Fluffer McKitty, and they're going to sneak into the house, and they're going to just kind of wander around and see what they can find.
Oh, but how did they get the cat?
We're not there yet. We're still at the picture.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were, like, skipping way ahead. And
No,
I was like,
wait. No, I'm just sassing you about this.
Okay.
I'm horrible. I apologize.
So they come up with a plan to get the cat, and
Yeah.
then they're going to infiltrate the house.
Yeah.
And do some recon.
Yep, that's the plan.
That's the plan.
That is indeed the plan. And I believe they act on this right away. And they, like, go over, and they're like, we're going to go find this cat. So they have Tobias flying around, looking for the cat. And that works out well. And he starts going on about juicy mice. And Marco has another moment with Tobias where they're talking about,
oh, yeah,
I can't have a friend that eats rats.
Oh.
And it's like, oh. And
Ouch.
immediately both Jake and Rachel are like, come on.
Shut up.
Yeah, Jake's like, I ate a spider. I guess we can't be friends. What he could have said is, you eat, on average, 8 spiders a year. Not true facts, by the way. That is totally untrue.
I mean, you probably eat a certain amount of bugs when you eat, like, Cheetos and stuff.
When you eat Fig Newtons, you eat, like, wasps' heads.
Ew.
Yeah.
That's why I don't eat Fig Newtons.
That's the only reason why? I mean, like Fig Newtons.
I don't know.
I mean, they're boring, but I like them.
Okay.
I'd eat them. I'd eat wasps.
You get that extra protein from the wasp heads.
It's honestly what I'm in there for, is the extra protein.
There you go.
We need to build some muscle strength.
Better than that protein birthday cake shake.
Oh, God. That stuff's horrible.
Don't buy that.
Don't ever buy birthday cake flavored protein powder.
God.
It's bad for you.
Anyway.
After that sidebar. Yeah, so Marco, and he's kind of a dick.
Yeah, he says a little dick thing.
He says a little dick.
Sorry, that sounded not what I wanted it to sound like.
I liked it.
Okay.
Oh, God.
Anyway, he's mean to Tobias.
He's mean to Tobias, but Tobias uses his superior eyesight to still find the cat.
Yep.
And at this point, they come up with, I believe, their most harebrained scheme to date.
Hang on.
Yes.
I know what house Tobias would be in.
What house?
Hufflepuff. Because he's good at finding things.
Oh, God! Because he's a particularly good finder.
He's a particularly good finder.
Oh, God.
Go watch a Harry Potter musical.
Do it. Yeah, if you don't understand probably 4 of the references we've thrown out already, watch a Harry Potter musical.
Just go watch that. You'll understand everything forever.
You will, and you'll thank us, too.
Good, yeah, because it's a joy.
And if you like Darren Criss, it'll be an extra joy for you.
Yes.
And also, you came in a really weird way to Darren Criss.
Yes. Oh, man. His hair was out of control back then. Anyway.
His hair's still out of control. Anyway.
So he finds the cat.
He does.
And Rachel and Cassie go over there to try and obtain the cat. Except he is apparently an unneutered male.
They don't determine if he's neutered. Rachel just says, I don't know, in a very offended tone.
In any case, he's very aggressive.
He's a very aggressive male cat.
And he kills them.
And that's the end of the book.
And that's
Sorry,
all.
guys.
Thanks for joining us on the Animorphs podcast.
This has been great.
Oh, my God.
That would be a terrible ending for the book.
Oh, man.
So anyways, what actually happens is is Cassie, who is not afraid at all to shove her entire arm down a rabid wolf's mouth, is like, a tomcat? You didn't tell me that.
Hell no.
You know?
I'm out.
No problem at all helping my mom, with the giant gorillas and the tigers.
Sorry.
But, like, you asked me to catch a tomcat. That's a little inappropriate. So she's like, well, we didn't bring gloves, and I'm the only one with my rabies shots.
Oh, yeah.
So that's problematic. And then they chase him up a tree.
Yes.
And they call the fire department, because that's what you do when a cat's in a tree.
It's true.
They didn't do that, though.
No,
that would be too smart for
also,
our gang of kids.
They were on some stranger's lawn, which would have been kind of weird.
That's right. They also mention how they just kept hanging out in strangers' yards and their bushes.
Yeah, no big deal. So
they don't call the cops.
They come up with a brilliant idea of turning Rachel into a mouse. Or I think Rachel comes up with the idea of turning herself into a mouse.
It's a terrible idea.
It's a terrible idea.
It's the worst one.
But it moves the plot forward, so it's fine.
I mean, there's just so many other ways they could have gone about that.
Yeah.
Like, they could have,
like, had Tobias... No, he wouldn't have picked up the cat. The cat
he refused. Yeah, he refused to pick up the cat. He said to Rachel, don't ask me to pick up the cat.
Yeah, he was like, no comprende. That's the wrong word.
I don't understand. I wish he had said that now.
No
that would have been better. No, Rachel, I don't understand. I guess with the morphs, they could have gotten Marco to be Big Jim. Gorillas and cats have a great rapport.
Oh, yeah, Coco.
Yeah, he could have sign language that cat out of the tree.
Oh, Coco was so sad when the cat passed away.
But this one didn't. They could have gotten Jake to go full tiger. I'm just gonna keep suggesting battle morphs to catch this cat.
I was
gonna
say someone could have morphed a giraffe and like extended. That would have been very conspicuous.
So would a gorilla. And a Siberian tiger.
Yeah. Okay.
Cassie could have morphed into her horse and done nothing.
I'm a horse.
I'm a horse. She could have just eaten grass on the neighbor's front lawn to distract them while these kids went battle morph to get... That's about as good as the plan Rachel came up with.
Yeah, okay.
So, anyways, the actual plan was to get a mouse.
Yeah.
And to bring that mouse over and to put it under the tree and to entice the cat down onto the mouse. So, they of course send Tobias to go catch a mouse. Mm-hmm. And apparently now it's all acceptable. You know, Marco didn't say anything at this juncture. But whatever, Marco. So he goes to catch a mouse and completely misidentifies and catches a shrew. He says it's a baby mouse. I don't think they look that similar. And for somebody who has eyes that good, he should have known.
I'm gonna Google.
But I guess
shrew.
Because of his sheltered home life, he doesn't
shrew.
know the difference
This
between
looks
a shrew.
nothing like a mouse.
Nothing at all like a mouse.
They have weird little noses.
They do.
They have weird... Oh, look at this one with its open mouth. Ew.
Yeah, it's got some jankety teeth.
It's got some horrifying teeth.
And
but apparently
blind.
It eats, like, dead bodies and stuff, so what do you expect?
It eats dead bodies.
Oh, God, look at this. Look at its tongue.
Oh, that's an elephant shrew. That's a totally different...
That's adorable and terrifying. Anyway, we're looking at pictures of shrews that you can't see.
You're welcome.
Hooray.
And that's a mole. That's not even a shrew.
Yeah, that's
this
a mole.
Google search is messed up.
Oh, look at this. It's an elephant shrew.
It's half elephant, half
Someone
shrew.
photoshopped an elephant trunk onto the shrew.
Funny.
Anyway.
That's a good visual pun.
Okay.
So she gets a shrew.
She gets a shrew.
And she... and Marco makes a joke about her being a shrew.
Oh, yeah.
Which would have flown over my head as a child. I would not have gotten that.
I only know about that because I saw the 10 Things I Hate About You, which is an adaptation of The Taming of the Shrew by William Shakespeare. So I kind of knew what a shrew was because of that.
So I'm just going to say right now, I've never read Taming of the Shrew, and in my head, it's always been about a circus that has shrews as all of their acts.
It is not about that at all.
And the cover art for it that I imagine is a man with a whip and a shrew.
Tiny shrew.
Tiny shrew. I think in my head it's like a poodle-sized shrew.
Oh, okay.
But still.
That's a horrifying size shrew.
So that's the Taming of the Shrew as told by me.
Well, there you go.
So that doesn't happen. Rachel's a shrew.
Rachel's a shrew.
She turns into the shrew and she freaks the fuck out.
Yeah, like worse than Jake turning into a lizard. She's like out of control.
Yes. And
Tobias has to capture her.
He does, which really seems like a bad idea.
Yeah, that seems counterproductive.
But it helps because he goes, think about school. And she's like, oh, shit.
I hate school.
I hate school. It was like...
We all hate school.
She's like, I'm panicking. My life is horrible. And Tobias is like, think about school where you don't have any of your homework done and everything's horrible. And she's like, yes, that panic is worse than the shrew's panic.
Gotcha. Right.
Yeah. I don't think that's actually what happened. That's what I wanted to imagine.
Sure.
But, yeah, so Tobias breaks through to her. And this is... Rachel's just... She's not the best equipped for handling panic because her response is always so forceful. Like,
yeah.
she's like always ready to go into battle, ready to do things. So, like, when you throw panic at her, she's not like the other kids that can kind of, like... Mm-hmm. Like Jake. He's like, we're panicking, but... You know, this is where we're going. This is what we're doing. And, you know, he can kind of overcome it. Rachel's kind of stuck. She just blind panics for a while.
Is it because she's so brave that she doesn't know how to handle fear?
So, what I think is if we look at when she's morphing Fluffer McKitty, she never fully lets go of the animal brain.
Right.
And this isn't so different when they're flying. They all do that because they need the birds to fly for them.
Right.
But Rachel, when the other Animorphs kind of dominate the animal, Rachel seems to really lean on her animal brain. And when she's the cat, she still keeps that confidence and that assertiveness. Yeah. And so I think she just is not good. She always like holds on to that that little bit of the animal. And I think it's because she is so brave, but she's always brave because she's doing it for someone else or covering for someone else.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I think it makes her a worse morpher. I think Rachel could arguably be the worst morpher of all of them.
I cannot form an opinion yet, but maybe.
Maybe. Maybe not.
Maybe not.
I don't know. We'll find out. Eventually. Next time. So, the plan, as stupid as it is, does work, and she doesn't get instantaneously killed like they were worried about.
Marco grabs Fluffer out of thin air.
Literally out of thin air. He just appears and grabs him around the waist.
Yeah.
Which, if you've ever tried to grab a cat doing anything, is just... It's
hard.
Impossible.
Cats are liquid.
They are liquid, and cats that are hunting are like liquid steel.
Yeah. And some cats start thrashing when you grab them when they don't want to be grabbed.
I think Fluffer McKitty did. Didn't he get a few swipes out of
Marco?
Yeah,
he killed them all.
He killed them all. They all died. This is the end of the book. Oh, God. So many false endings here.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
So many red herrings.
So many red herrings.
Okay, so they grab the cat.
And Rachel goes, yeah, let's do this again tomorrow. I'm done.
Yeah, because being a shrew was horrifying.
It was. And then she has nightmares about wanting to eat maggots.
And flesh.
And that's when Jordan comes in, her cool sister. And her sister's like, I know I'm 2 years younger than you, but you can talk to me about anything.
Which is cool.
That's adorable.
That's great. That's a good sibling relationship.
Yeah. If I ever met my brothers, like, who are younger than me at any juncture, it was horrifying and awful. I can't imagine having a good sibling.
Oh.
They'd be like, you were having a nightmare? Let me beat you with this stick I found.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it would be terrible. So anyways, Jordan's cool.
Yeah, Jordan's cool.
She made me want a sister for a little bit.
And then the next morning, Rachel and Jake have like a nice little conversation about being small, scared animals together.
They do. They connect.
Yeah, they connect, and Jake's like, yeah, I know how you feel. You know, I had nightmares after I was the lizard. And then they talk about how someday they might have to morph into bugs, which I think is interesting because from the limited amounts of things I remember about what I have read of the series is that bugs are a whole nother ball game for them. But that's all I'll say about that.
And I'll just silently agree with you.
Yes.
It made me laugh. It made me laugh real hard.
Yeah. But I was really actually very interested in the whole shrew reaction to being the shrew, because I feel like that starts a whole nother like side effect of morphing, because like I kind of touched on the previous episode, is like they had just started doing morphs, and they started with really cool morphs, or really kind of like not horrifying experiences, but then they start expanding their repertoire a little bit, and it starts getting a little weird. And I just think it's a really interesting, from an author's perspective, to kind of imagine what it would be like to be in that animal's mind. So I think that's one of my favorite kind of aspects of the series so far, is just like kind of really getting into the psychology of what it would be like to be a shrew or a lizard or a bug, you know?
And I think that was one of Applegate's main, like that's what she set out to do with this series, is to really get you in the animal's perspective. And I find myself even now talking about some of their experiences, like that is a fact of what it would be like to be that animal. And until I learn like more facts about it, I maintain that as like, this is my baseline for what I imagine this animal's perspective is.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think she nailed cats.
Oh yeah.
That's for sure.
Totally.
Yeah. Dogs, I'm not really sure. I feel like they have more depth to them.
Yeah.
But cats she got. She's a fan of cats.
Yeah. Oh, sidebar for this. I think it would have been cool to do different breeds of dogs, because different breeds of dogs are bred for different things. So like a border collie, which is a very like energetic, high-strung, I always have to be working and herding, versus like, I don't know, a Yorkshire Terrier. You know.
Do you want a minor spoiler that has not much at all to do
Sure.
with plot? Marco does get an Irish setter later on.
Oh,
and
cool.
they talk about the difference between Homer and the Irish setter.
Oh, cool.
So that's pretty cool. I mean, they're not that different, but...
Yeah. Well, if Homer's a golden retriever... Okay, whatever. I mean, they're both kind of... Like, they're both sporting breeds, so I assume it... But they're bred for different things. Because setters are for spotting, and golden retrievers are for retrieving. I like dogs. Anyway, let's move on.
Nothing. I was just really ready to stare at you and listen to dog lectures for a minute.
No, I'm not getting into that.
All right.
We are almost an hour in, and we're not even halfway through this book.
No, but we're getting... So, we can say that we're not halfway through this, but this is a really rapid-fire moments coming up.
I had another note that I made.
Tell me.
When... this is going back to when Jake and Rachel were talking about different morphs on the bus.
A safe place to talk about morphing, for sure.
Oh, yeah, for sure. No one will overhear them.
No one will overhear you on the bus.
I wrote something about touching on what I could be considered morph abuse, which is, or like, using, not morph abuse necessarily, but like using morphing as a coping mechanism. So like Jake said, he wants to turn into a dog when he's depressed, because dogs are very happy and they know how to, have fun. And I was like, wow, that's a really interesting element to introduce. Like, I mean, if I could morph, I would turn into, like, a bird to fly around for a while, or I'd probably just be a dog, actually. All the time. Because dogs have a good life.
Oh, I have so much to say to
you
you right
now.
now.
You have so much to say on that topic.
I have so much to say on that topic,
but
and
you
I'm
can't.
holding it in.
Okay, so...
But I will say an opinion.
Okay.
That's not a spoiler, it's an opinion.
Okay.
I think that when they were younger, both their age and the rapid fire morphing is what protected them from a lot of the side effects of going through a war. I think that they needed that. If it was another age group, if it was a little different than this, it would have been much worse for them. Yeah. And that's hard to say because it's not good for them.
No, absolutely not.
But it could have been worse.
Yeah.
And that's all I'll say on that.
That's something to chew on.
That's keep that at the back burner. Oh God. All right. So we'll start going into the rest of the plan, which is the next day. They're breaking into her house, and Rachel, she morphs into Fluffer McKitty. She, as we said earlier, she kind of leans into the morph. She doesn't let go of the cat brain. She keeps the arrogance and the Swagger.
Yep.
That's a good word for it. Swagger.
Swagger.
And she goes out and hangs out in the house and snoops around. And the first thing she notices how freaking creepy the Chapmans are.
Oh my god, they're so creepy.
Yeah, Mr. Chapman's just sitting on the couch staring at nothing.
He's like that politician from Parks and Rec.
Oh my god,
You know
yes!
what I'm talking about?
Yes, I do.
He just sits at his desk and stares at the
Oh
wall.
my god. And they like greet him and he's like, good morning, the weather is good. And then
Yeah.
he just sits like ramrod straight staring.
That's what I was imagining the whole time.
That's probably exactly right.
Oh my god.
And then Miss Chapman is like mechanically washing dishes. And not
talking or listening to anything or humming or anything.
No. And I guess what Mr. Chapman was doing was just keeping track of time before his meeting in the basement.
His creepy basement meeting.
Creepy basement meeting. And like they're saying the only noise in the house is Melissa like talking to herself or something.
Up in her room, yeah.
Yep. So they go into the basement, and in the basement is a sliding metal door. Not 90s standard for a basement.
Nope.
So I guess it must be aliens.
Yeah.
So it is alien. Spoiler. It's an alien door. They go into an alien bunker in the basement. Rachel gets out of Thoughtspeak range of all the other Animorphs. Tobias was still talking to her up until the point where she got into the basement, checking in on her.
Because they couldn't hear each other.
Right, and he's been talking privately to Rachel throughout the book. He's really very concerned. Their relationship is growing quickly. You can tell they have a little thing going.
Aww.
They're being cute. They're just cuties.
Anyway.
So anyways, going from cuties to they're in the basement,
yes.
and they get locked into this room where they engage with Visor 3.
Visor 3.
They have a meeting where he demands the Andalite bandits.
He gets really mad.
Yeah, and he's
like, what's the update on the Andalite bandits? And Chapman's like, oh, we haven't found them yet. And he's like, fool! And flips the table.
Find them immediately!
He flips the table and then cuts it in half with his tail.
What I love is that he's just like, but I ordered you to find them. And it's like arguing with a toddler, like, but I can't find them. But I ordered you to.
Why not?
I know, why haven't you found them?
He's very upset.
And he's extremely upset, and then he notices there's a cat in the room. And he's immediately like, Andalite bandits!
God.
And then Chapman, who is the one that saved Homer / Jake in the first book, is like, well, no, that's my daughter's cat.
Yeah.
And Visor 3's like, kill it! Kill it! And he's like, I can't, it's my daughter's cat.
Oh, man.
Then Visor 3 takes a swipe at Rachel, and she swipes back, and all of a sudden he's like, haha, yes!
That is a worthy adversary.
It is a worthy adversary. Haha!
He fucking loves cats.
I liked when he's like, if we could infest these animals, like,
we'd be unstoppable.
I would love that. If they abandoned the entire invasion of the humans to just invade cats.
Oh my god.
Like, because some of the bigger cats have to be, they'd be able to support a yerk for sure.
Yeah, it's like, how big are yerks? You know, they say slug size, but like, you know.
I always imagine, well, they say like 2 or 3 inches, right?
2 or 3 inches long?
Yeah.
Are they fat, or are they like leech skinny?
Every non-TV show yerk I've seen and heard described, it's described as 2 to 3 inches long, and it's like this fat gray slug.
Okay.
So it looks kind of like a snail without a shell.
Okay.
So, I mean, they could definitely fit into a lion.
Oh,
Tigers.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, he could, if Visor 3 believed in his plans enough, he could abandon the whole infesting humans and go to cats.
Yeah.
And then that would be...
They must be fairly flexible, though, right?
Yeah, because what they do is they crawl in through the ear canal, they hit the brain, and they expand their entire body. And
like a
sink,
balloon.
Yeah, and they sink into every, like, nook and cranny of your brain.
Yeah. Oh, they could... Yeah.
They could totally
do cats, yeah.
Yeah. Especially because, well, never mind, that's a spoiler.
Oh.
I was going to talk about the first animals they infested, which are tinier than lions. That's all I'll say.
Okay.
They could totally fit in a lion.
Yeah.
Visor 3 needs to believe in himself a little more. And he does at one point ask, is this creature related to the orange and black one?
Yeah.
Which is, like, my favorite.
Yeah.
He's like, let me build... I don't care about any facts or details about anything going on underneath me or any of the other animals that they Animorphs acquire. I just want to know about cats.
Yep.
We could have recommended some good cat podcasts for him.
Yeah. Maybe he could, like, sit in a chair and then spin around and he's petting a white cat.
It would totally fit.
I say as I have a white cat in my lap that I'm petting.
Yeah, but you're not yelling "fool" at me and, like, ordering me to capture
or, like, doing
the
the Dr. Evil thing.
Oh, God.
With my dimple or whatever that is.
With my dimple.
I can't describe what I'm doing. You can't see me. Anyway.
Anyways.
So Mr. 3 loves cats.
He does.
He's a cat lady.
I think that's the most important thing we have to cover here.
Yeah.
Visitor 3 loves cats.
That's the climax.
That's the climax
the
of this. And then they all died.
Fluffer Nutter killed everybody. Sorry, Fluffer Nutter?
Fluffer McKitty. I always call him Fluffer McNutter. When I don't read the books, I default back to Fluffer McNutter, and then I read them again. I'm like, oh, it's Fluffer McKitty.
It's a dumb name.
It's a dumb name. It should be Nutter. That would make it a great name instead of a dumb name.
God.
Again, Flutter McPigeon.
Flutter McPigeon.
It's gonna happen. Maybe I'll change Wilcox's name to Flutter McPigeon.
Do it.
Okay. Done.
Cool. What happens then?
Then, he basically worms his way out of blaming the cat and says it's not an Analite bandit because she doesn't react. At one point, Visitor 3 yells to kill her, and she doesn't react.
Yeah.
And that's what saves her.
Yeah.
She's cool as a cucumber.
So Rachel leaning into the animal brain is actually a benefit in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
It's a boon, right? Yeah, it's a boon.
It really is, and it really is.
It's a double-edged sword, though, right?
Yeah, and that's why I say she's, like, the weakest morpher, but at the same time, it's not necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah, it matches her kind of, like, all-or-nothing personality.
Yeah.
Like, she's a high roller, you know?
She's intense. She's ready to rage at a moment's notice.
Yeah.
That's what I like about her.
She's like okay.
She's like the type of person that, like, you walk in at 2 a.m, you're like, let's go cause some trouble in the streets. And she'd be, like, throwing the covers off, like, yeah! And I like that about her.
Cool.
So, yeah, the first time she barely escapes with her life, she's told that, you know, the same sort of thing that Jake went through, where they are, like, you know, they order them killed, and they barely escape with their lives. She gets out of the house, comes running out. The Animorphs are freaked out. Is it this first time she stays with Melissa? Yes, it is, because the second time the whole showdown happens.
Yeah, you're
so
right.
The first time is before she comes out of the house, she hears Melissa upstairs crying.
Yeah, because Melissa came down. Oh, that means the wife was there. Oh, yeah, because, like, after
After they came
Chapman,
upstairs.
Yeah,
this is important.
After Chapman finishes talking to Visitor 3 and they leave the room, the wife is there and she's like, what are our orders? Which, you know, she's a controller too, and you know they're kind of talking about it. I don't remember what the plans were.
Well, they weren't even talking about the plans. This is kind of an interesting, important plot point. They were not talking about the plans at this point. They were talking about how badly Visitor 3 is screwing up the invasion of Earth.
Oh, right.
And, like, how shitty of a manager he is of everything. God. And that's, like...
That's interesting.
It's super interesting, because right up until this point, it's been, like, Visitor 3 is terrifying.
Yeah.
Like, we are told he is our main enemy.
Yeah.
And now it's, like... He's terrible at his job. No one respects him. Mm-hmm. We all know he's terrible at this.
Yeah.
And that becomes another advantage for the Animorphs throughout the... Like, if there was somebody more kind of competent of a leader in charge of the Yeerks at this point, the Animorphs probably would have been dead, like, 100 times over.
Sure.
But there wasn't. It was Visitor 3, who's a great villain.
Oh, yeah.
But he's just not a great leader.
Right.
So, yeah, they're talking about that, and that's when Melissa comes down and asks for help with homework.
Yeah, and they're really mean to her.
in the most loving way.
Yeah.
It was a weird, like, kind of, no, honey, you can do it yourself. We love you, sweetheart.
It's very like Stepford Wives, kind of scary robots.
It is. And she can tell her parents don't love her.
Yeah, somehow.
Apparently they leave.
I mean, she
the
knows
emotion
something's
out.
wrong. Like, she knows.
When your dad sits on the couch staring at nothing, I'd be a little freaked.
Yeah.
I mean, at least put the TV on.
Yeah. Try to be normal.
Try to be normal. Yeah, for a species whose specialty is, like, low-key invasion, they're not great at invading a lot of the time.
And especially because, so I definitely thought Melissa was also a controller, like, at the beginning. Like, I was like, why is Rachel being so stupid? Like, she's obviously, like, a controller. You know, if their friendship has fallen apart in the past few months, like, that's a dead giveaway. Her father's a controller. You gotta assume her whole family were controllers. But this is the moment when you find out that Melissa's not a controller, but her parents being controllers is, like, messing up their relationship and being really hard on her, and that's why she's been acting weird. And I totally forgot where I was going with this.
But that reminded me of another point that I was going to talk about, which was that's where Rachel gets her motivation to fight.
Yeah.
Is this moment when Melissa's crying upstairs, she goes up as Fluffer McKitty, Fluffer McNutter, and starts cuddling with Melissa and trying to comfort her and purring. And while she's doing this, everyone is standing outside and through Tobias screaming at her, get out.
Because her time limit is almost up.
It's coming, yeah. And she ends up getting out of there with 10 minutes left. But the entire time she's going up to that last 10 minutes, they're like, get out, you idiot.
Yeah.
And it was important, though, that she stay because that gave her motivation to protect her friends. And it's another moment of that loyalty that...
Yeah.
We don't hear the specific instance come up again. Like, Melissa she's not, brought up every time Rachel goes into battle, but it's that the theme of the loyalty is there.
Yeah.
And that's what I think is important to her character.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep. So they cuddled, she purred, she got the frick out of there.
Yes.
And then they're like, what did you learn? And she's like, well, Chapman's a controller. Mrs. Chapman's a controller. Visor 3 wants us caught. He thinks we're Andalite bandits. And they're like, so you learned nothing we didn't already know. Let's go back. And that's why this plot is so confusing to me, because we have these 2 times that she goes back in there, and I can't keep them straight when I'm talking about them to you until I reveal the ending.
And I should also point out, at this point, they had been hinting up to some, sorry, my brain is
fried. You had too much sushi. Your brain is being eaten by worms from fish.
They had indicated, like, hey, Rachel, are you kind of okay in this cat morph? It kind of feels like you really like the cat morph, and that you're kind of letting the cat take over. Like, are you...
Cat's out of the bag.
And Tobias in particular was kind of worried about her in the cat morph, which leads up to the second time they go. Did anything happen in between?
No, but I liked where you were going with that, because Tobias is super worried about her and talking to her privately throughout the book because she likes the cat morph. The whole reason Tobias got trapped was because he liked the hawk morph too much. He sees that same sort of addiction in her. Yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
Damn.
That's really good. That's good.
That's scary. Oh, God.
Oh,
God.
So they decide to go back in again?
Yeah, they're going to go back in. Rachel does not disclose to Jake that they went that far south. Yeah,
that she'd almost gotten killed in the basement.
Right. And so she's going to go back in, and Cassie knows she's hiding something.
Yeah.
Cassie's like, what's going on, Rachel? And Rachel makes some bullshit excuse, but Cassie doesn't fall for that.
Yeah.
She knows. She's the she's the heart of this lame Captain Planet group.
It's Captain Planet,
Captain Planet.
Oh, my God.
So Cassie knows something's up. And so literally this is how the pages go. The end of the chapter is something like Rachel saying, "What are you gonna do? Morph a bug and like get on my back, and that's how you'll come with me?" Ha ha ha. The next chapter is they're back. She's morphing a cat, and Cassie's petting her for an extraordinarily long amount of time.
Yeah.
And by extraordinarily long, I mean like a couple seconds, and it was suspicious.
And Jake didn't show up.
And Jake didn't show up because he got grounded.
Yeah.
And Marco's all like, "I don't know what he got grounded for. Don't ask me."
Yeah.
Which, you know, right, Marco.
Flying saucers.
Flying See, that's how we knew Melissa wasn't a controller. She never invited us to the sharing.
Oh, that's true.
She was never pleasant.
Yeah.
She never invited us pleasantly.
Yeah, she was never like, "Oh, hey, Rachel, you want to hang out? You should come to the sharing."
Yeah, there's cute
right.
boys at the sharing,
There's
Rachel.
cute boys at the sharing.
Damn her.
Gross.
It's gross. No one likes boys. They're 12.
Nobody likes 12-year-old boys.
Nobody likes 12-year-old. They're covered in slime and they fart
And
a lot.
cooties. Yes.
That was literally the plot of all of Nickelodeon in the 90s.
I mean, yeah.
They're covered in slime and they're gross.
Yeah. Lots of fart jokes.
Lots
in
of
the
fart
90s.
jokes. Lots of fart jokes in the 90s. It all started with The Lion King.
Did it?
Yeah, that Pumbaa was the first fart joke.
Oh my god, I didn't even realize that.
Yeah.
I'm upset.
Why?
I don't know.
About Pumbaa?
No, about fart jokes.
Oh.
I hate fart jokes, but
Not as much as Teresa.
that's very true.
So, that's terrible. Luckily, there's no fart jokes in this chapter.
Are there fart jokes in any of the Animorphs?
Not to my recollection, and
Okay,
I'm
good.
pretty good at remembering fart jokes.
Okay, Kay Applegate had more.
She had standards.
Okay,
She's like,
that's
these
good.
kids are already naked in front of each other, being eviscerated and dying, like their organs fall out. I'm not gonna make a fart joke.
Okay. I enjoy that.
I'm gonna imagine that's a direct quote from her.
Okay. That's exactly.
That's
word for word.
exactly what the word for word, she went into that meeting with her editor. She threw the paper notes on the ground. They scattered everywhere, and she said, "I am not writing a fart joke."
Excellent.
Perfect.
So
Now we have that out of the way.
So Cassie pets Rachel for a little bit, and Rachel's like, "This is weird," and then leaves because she is a cat and does not wish to be pet anymore.
And she's Rachel. She's like, "I'm not going to think about this again."
I only have 2 hours. I got shit to do.
Exactly.
So she goes
So she saunters into the house.
back into the house,
Back into the house.
down into the basement,
Right down into the basement. Because the last time she was there, she was told, like, you know, you're going to be killed next time. So she goes down there. She's tracking Chapman right behind his legs. And
Oh yeah, sneaking,
narrowly missing.
very sneaky.
She was not very sneaky.
She's like jumping behind like telephone poles and adhering her body to them like Wile E. Coyote. She's being, super sneak.
Super sneaky. Right up until the point that Jake goes, "So where are we now?"
So what's up, Rachel?
So what's up, Rachel?
And
And
she
she freaks.
She freaks the fuck out, as you know,
As
anyone would.
As you would do when you realize that a boy is stuck as a flea to your body.
Yes.
Or not as a flea to your body. I mean, I don't know.
It just
Anytime
a disembodied voice.
a disembodied voice that you think is on your body comes and talks to you,
It's horrifying.
it is horrifying. So she freaks out. She almost gets caught then. And then there's a little bit of back and forth banter that amused me because it was kind of like, "Where are you?" And he's like, "I don't know. Where are we?" And she's
Yeah.
like, no, but where are you? And then finally she's like, "We're in a situation. 10 words or less. Where are you?" And he's like, "Oh, well, if it's 10 words or less, then I guess I'm on you." And it's like, I think that was more than 10 words. That was why I was amused.
He's a flea.
He's a flea. He's a flea on her.
Yes.
And she's like, "You're sucking my blood." And he's like, "Well, you know." Yep.
Flea's gotta eat.
Flea's gotta eat. Flea.
And apparently the flea morph is pretty okay because he can't see and his brain is tiny and he just doesn't care about things.
Yeah, and
Fleas don't care.
it was
about-
funny because, like, I mean, obviously it was foreshadowing earlier when they were talking about, like, how they would never want to do a bug morph and, like, how that was the thought of that was disgusting.
Mhm.
And then Jake's like, "Oh yeah, I'm a bug. No big deal, yo."
Yeah.
Like, it's...
I wonder if he like freaked out about it beforehand and then had to like work himself up to it and then found out that being a flea was actually okay.
Yeah, I wonder.
I don't know.
Because a lot of the times with the bug morphs, they really have to talk themselves into it.
Yeah.
But, like, the more disgusting it is.
Yeah.
Oh, and the ant book.
Oh, I remember that.
Everyone remembers that. That's not even a spoiler.
Yeah.
If you know Animorphs, you know about the ant book. So that's coming up soon.
Anyway.
Anyways, they make it back into the basement, and Rachel very sneakily hides under the desk.
Under the desk.
And her entire plan at this point is to listen to this Visor 3 meeting and jump over Chapman's feet anytime he moves so he won't know she's there. Terrible plan.
Awful.
Terrible.
Awful.
And the whole time, Jake's like, what's going on? What's happening? Why? What are we doing? What's happening now?
Listen! Hey, listen!
Oh, God. Oh, God.
Shut up, Jake!
To no one's surprise, she gets kicked right in the ribs and yowls.
Yes, and is discovered. And, of course, the second time you are discovered hiding in a room when you could have been anywhere else is very suspicious.
Anywhere else, and you're hiding, listening on this phone call again.
Yeah. So
Like,
Visor 3 is like, kill it.
Yeah, he's like, these are Andalite bandits now.
Yeah.
And then she stops even trying to hide it.
Yeah.
Like, there's a fight for a while. Oh, this was a favorite scene of mine. So they're fighting, and Chapman's trying to grab her as the cat. And while Chapman's trying to grab her, she's swiping at him. She's turning his hand into mincemeat, is what she says.
Yeah.
And on the other side of Chapman, who's having this shitty time trying to catch this cat and getting injured and torn apart,
Yes.
Here's Visor 3 like, yes, this wonderful creature!
This is awesome! Wow.
This is the best creature! Watch it slice and dice. Like, poor Chapman, I really felt for him.
What a dick.
What a I think he's being awesome in this scene. He's just so excited, like, look at this wonderful creature. This is amazing. And poor Chapman in the middle of this, like...
Well, I feel bad for, like, actual human Chapman.
Yeah.
Who is suffering the consequences of his yerk trying to handle this very upset cat.
Yeah.
This cat Rachel.
That's true.
Yeah.
That is true.
So I hope Fluffer McKitty Nuts is up to date on his rabies vaccination. Because what if, like, Chapman just got rabies?
And that was it? That's how Chapman died?
Fluffer McKitty kills every character.
Fluffer McKitty. Honestly, this entire book series could have gone very differently if Fluffer McKitty was the main antagonist in it.
Oh my god.
He would have had
I was the villain all
whipped.
along.
I was the villain all. He would have had the Animorphs in hand, like, years ahead of schedule.
Yeah.
So anyways, they realize Rachel is indeed an Andalite bandit, and he orders her at Draken Point into the cat carrier.
Draken Point?
Draken Beam, yeah.
Oh. I'm picturing, like that game, Drakengard or whatever.
I don't even know that game.
I'm probably saying it wrong.
I'm probably saying
I know
it
how
wrong.
to play video games.
I know games. Well, it's a Draken Beam.
Yeah, it's a gun.
It's a gun. It's a phaser, basically.
Yeah.
It's the Yerk version of a phaser, so of course red light comes out of it. It's more painful. It explodes your molecules, all that shit.
What if you just, like, pointed the laser at the ground and Rachel started chasing it?
That's how you got out of this situation?
Yeah. Oh, never mind, it's a cat.
That would be amazing. Never mind, this is truly a cat.
Jeez.
Oh, God. That would be a genius way to,
man.
like, prove, like, oh, I'm really a cat.
Oh my gosh.
Ugh. So anyway, she's looking at the door and he's like, try it. I'd like to blow you up.
Oh, and then the wife, like, sticks her head in and he's like, go get the cage that we used to take the cat to the vet. So she does. And then don't they start, like, kind of fighting? Oh, right, because Visor 3's like, oh yeah, and bring me the daughter so that we can put a yerk in her head.
Yup.
And then the parents, Chapman and Mrs. Chapman, they start, like, fighting.
They do. They start fighting for their daughter.
Yeah. So they start trying to control the yerks.
And they're successful.
Yeah,
like,
for a little bit, yeah.
They do. And Mrs. Chapman actually tries strangling herself.
Which is fucked up.
There's so much about this. These books are fucked up.
Oh, man, yeah.
Like, there's some terrible things happen.
Yeah.
We're in book 2, and this woman's trying to murder herself through strangulation.
Yeah, and, like, up until this point, we've had a couple of the controllers have, like, facial twitches, like Tom did last book, and then Chapman did, like, earlier in this book. Like, so there's already been an indication that, like, the humans they're aware of the yerks, and they might even at some point have a little bit of control to try and fight. which
Yeah.
the Chapmans do now, which was one of the questions I had really early on, is like, can the humans potentially take back over, or like, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, a little bit, and so much of that depends too, right? Like, how weak are the Yeerks, and at what part of their feeding cycle are they, and what's going on? Because the humans, I don't think it's any sort of spoiler or anything to say it. Throughout the series, when they have those emotional buildups, like, humans are considered to the other aliens to be extremely emotional creatures.
Sure.
And when they have those high points of emotion, they are able to, like, overcome the Yeerk a little bit better. And it's not like they ever break out. What are you giggling at?
It was love. It repels Voldemort from the body.
God. Yes.
Oh, God.
Love breaks the spell. So when they're in love, the spells bounce off them and the Yeerks can't take over.
Sure.
No, they never, like, fully break free of it, and the
Sure.
Yeerk can always take back over.
Yeah.
But they can get, like, some nonsense out.
Gotcha. Okay.
So they start to bust out, which is really, it's just emotional. It's kind of sad. It is kind of sad. And there's more to the scene where they get Rachel in the cat carrier. She's telling Jake they're screwed, they're caught, blah, blah, blah. They're taking them to Visor 3. They do not take Melissa with them because the controllers, Mr. and Mrs. Chapman, broke through. So
right.
And the whole deal was that they wouldn't infest her daughter if Chapman came willingly. Mr. Chapman.
Yeah.
And that leads to the heartfelt speech at the construction site. So they take Rachel back to the construction site because apparently this is where all major plot points now happen. I can't think of any other reason to take her back to the construction site.
Right.
They're like, we're landing ships here. That's where he died. It's like, you could have taken her to the Yeerk pool.
Yeah.
Or to the Blade ship itself.
Yeah.
There's so many options,
Well, but the ships were flying in from orbit, presumably. Can they get down into the Yeerk pool? It just seemed like a convenient kind of landing point, rendezvous point for ships.
The Yeerk pool is still under construction, so I'm not sure if they can land anything there yet.
Okay.
But theoretically, yes. But I'm not sure if it's that time yet.
Okay.
But yeah. But there's much better ways of capturing her. There are much better places. So I don't know why they picked the construction site. But they did.
Okay.
And that's where shit goes down.
So Visor 3 shows up. And then he talks to Chapman.
Chapman himself.
Real Chapman.
Real Chapman.
And he's like, you know, I became a voluntary host in exchange for my daughter's freedom, and, you know, we didn't bring the daughter to you because I will fight this Yeerk for, like, the rest of my life or whatever.
Yes, and it's this very, like, it's... I mean, I know we've been building up to it because the whole thing is that Melissa's like, my parents don't love me. Things are terrible. Things at home are terrible. I hate everything. She even had that, like, blow up with Rachel. Like, you don't love me. My parents don't love me.
Sure.
No one loves me.
No one understands me.
It's this moment where, like, he breaks through and he's like, the reason why I'm a controller, the reason why all this happened is so you wouldn't take my daughter. I would give up anything for my daughter. My wife was weak. I don't know why he threw his wife under the bus.
Yeah.
He's like, she's weak.
It sounded like she was, like, a voluntary
Yeah, it
host.
sounded, and I would guess she was because she's still voluntary. I mean, they do give her a shout out at the end, like, oh, she broke through as well, so she must have some deeper thoughts happening, but
that's weird.
Yeah,
that's really weird.
But he totally threw his wife under the bus.
Yeah,
like,
I'm not sure what happened.
She's terrible as a person. We don't like her.
Oh man.
So he's like, I did all this to save my daughter, and he's so weak he can't even stand up anymore.
Oh yeah,
he's like flopping.
Talking is really hard for him too at the beginning.
Right, he's having troubles, and Visor 3 kind of mocks him and says, I have an Andalite host. Do you not think that's a little harder than a human?
Yeah.
He's totally right. I mean, Andalites and Yeerks are mortal enemies. They're disgusted with each other. Throughout the series, that some of the ways they find out controllers is just when they think they see an Andalite, they just have to scream Andalite with disgust.
Andalites!
Yeah, and, like, part of the problem with the Andalites is, like, when the Animorphs are so used to stealth, the Andalites are like, yuck, with disgust. So it's, like, it's this huge plot point, and they're living together in the same brain.
Yeah. That's
so,
fucked up.
He's right. Yeah, it's super messed up. And he's right, but I think it gave him some level of sympathy as well, because he's like, when your host is rebelling, he knows how hard that is, so he's like, would it be easier if I didn't infest your daughter? And they're like, yeah. And he's like, don't fail me again. And lets him go.
Yeah.
That was my take on it anyways.
Yeah. Totally.
That's what I felt. Those are my feelings about this. I think you really did have sympathy.
So, in the meantime, Rachel's still in the cage.
Right, and Jake's abandoned her because she asked him to multiple times.
Because Jake morphed before she did, and they're like really, really low on time at this point. So she said, Jake, get off my back, go morph back, or you're going to be trapped as a flea.
Right, and Jake had like 5 extra minutes on her as well.
Yeah.
So she's like, you know, you're leaving, get off me, go morph, go get out of here. There's no reason, like, Earth needs as many people fighting for it as possible. There's no reason for you to give yourself up as well as me. And then when Jake says he's gone, she was like, I know how to get this fool. And she's like, Jake, I changed my mind. Come back. I want you to stay with me. I'm scared or whatever. And she's like, if Jake was on me, for sure he would have answered and said, it's okay, I'm right here.
Yeah.
And this is Rachel thinking she's being genius, which she's very smart. And this is a very smart move. But Jake is the leader for a reason.
Yeah.
So he knew Rachel's mind games right from the start. And like 5 minutes later, he was like, so where are we now? In the most annoying frickin' Jake fashion.
Oh my god.
This whole book, where are we now? What are we doing? And she's like, Jake, you're still with me? And he's like, yeah, you idiot. So,
like, of course I'm still with you.
Of course. Where else would I be?
It's very sweet.
It's sweet. I should just leave it at it's sweet, because I keep thinking of it in more sinister terms.
Oh,
I keep
like
thinking
creepy?
long term. No, I keep thinking
okay.
I'm like, this is a trait that plays out a few more times. Not chivalrous to a fault, but the whole Jake is just one step ahead at every moment.
Okay.
And this plays out in the books, and it gets to the point where Jake kind of walks you through it a little more. But Jake's maybe not ahead of everyone, but certainly one step ahead of Rachel at every point in this book. Interesting. Yeah. And I love Rachel, but, you know, she's not a great planner. She's good. She's not great, though.
She just likes to do stuff.
She does like to do stuff. So, they do get taken into the ship. They do have only a few minutes left. And Jake goes, I'm going to try a quick double morph.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Because they haven't been able to rapid fire morph yet.
That's
they
right.
Tried it.
That's a new skill. Because they were talking about how exhausted they were from acquiring 2 morphs in one day.
Right.
And, like, it takes a lot out of you to morph. Like, that's...
understandable.
That's brought up. Yeah. And you get more condition to it, but they're getting exhausted from acquiring 2 morphs in a day. And now Jake's like, I'm going to try to demorph, remorph, and come out guns a-blazing.
Right.
Meanwhile, Marco and Cassie are just turning on earth movers. Undisclosed
construction equipment. Like, did they leave the keys in the earth movers? Like...
I'd like to admit, well, yeah, it was the 90s.
Oh.
Didn't everybody leave your keys in your car?
God.
That's my excuse for everything I can't immediately explain. It was the 90s. No, I mean, they must have found the keys, and what I imagined in my head is turned the thing on, and then just dropped a brick on the gas pedal, and let it go. And then also, Visitor 3 is like, prepare the ship for takeoff, and the texting goes, it'll take like 2 minutes. Since when? This is like never brought up again to my best recollection.
It's to
Why?
move the plot forward.
It's literally to move the plot forward.
And then Visitor 3 kills the Taxon in question.
He does, and then orders the others to eat it.
Yeah, it's like that orc in the Two Towers. Looks like meat's back on the menu, boys.
Meat's back.
It's fucked up.
That's awesome.
And then Jake morphs into a tiger. and attacks Visser 3.
Yes, somehow. And then Rachel also...
Oh, right. She partial morphs inside the cage to break it.
Yes. And then... But Visser 3 ends up opening the cage, too, because he sees her starting to morph, and
wait. Didn't she morph like a human hand and, like, open the cage herself? I don't remember.
I think it was Visser 3 that opened it.
Oh.
I don't remember the hand morph happening.
Oh.
But it's possible.
I don't know.
Put it down there as something Cassie could do, but Rachel probably could.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
she was really lucky.
Yeah.
No, but she gets out of the cage. Jake's the tiger. Jake starts wrestling basically with Visser 3. And Rachel tries to bolt. And she's trying to find anywhere to demorph because she's got like minutes left on the clock.
Yep.
And she thinks she finds a spot under this like slab of concrete. But the next thing we know, Visser 3 has morphed a giant golem rock monster with a tiny head.
He loves his giant, scary alien morphs.
He does. He's a connoisseur of giant, scary...
He's a connoisseur. He has a large collection.
But he turns into, like, a rock golem creature, and they call out how funny his tiny head is.
Oh, yeah. He's got, like, a human-sized head on a giant body.
He does. And they're like, it would be funny if he wasn't picking up this entire slab of concrete right now that is above me.
Right.
So Rachel gets caught out again, and there's this really insane Matrix-style action sequence where she's like running straight up walls and leaping over his arms.
And throwing back to her gymnastics where she's like, oh man, I can do crazy stuff as a cat that I could never do as a human.
Yes, that's true. I forget there's gymnastics. See, this is, again, I always forget that she has gymnastics completely running through everything. So she was a gymnast, and, you know, her human body was a lumbering cow, and her cat body is a perfect gymnast. So she's running through here, jumping off of Visser 3, jumping off his, like, you know, stuff, blah. And at one point she, like, runs straight up a wall and jumps into the air. And the next thing she knows, Tobias just grabs her by the scruff and flies her out to the forest.
Which I kind of want to call bullshit on that.
Call bullshit on it.
I don't see how that's... He grabs her by the scruff?
When she's jumping in midair, yes.
Like, I feel like... I don't know. I feel like the weight of the gravity pulling the cat down would, like, pull him down, and then, like, his talons would probably, like, puncture her skin, and I just don't see how that works personally.
I think it did. She said there was a sharp pain, so I'm imagining there was some puncturing.
Oh man, he could have like punctured her spinal cord. Like
she can morph out of it. They've done worse, I think.
Okay, whatever.
And he does say like, "Oh, I can only take you as far as the forest."
Oh yeah, and they throws her.
He throws her, and then the other part of this that I want to call bullshit on is Visser 3 looking for this small cat. Is willing to morph into a giant stone golem and tear up an entire construction site to look for one small cat. But the minute the hawk grabs her and flies away in plain
he like gives
line
up.
sight, he's like, well, this is too hard.
I'll get you next time.
Next time, if it wasn't for you meddling birds.
Meddling birds.
Yeah, I was like, I'm done now. You know, the hawk's got her. Well, you know. Yeah. This is hard.
I couldn't possibly go that way.
Maybe
he can't leave the construction site, or he'll draw attention to himself somehow. In any case, Rachel also morphs like while she's falling through the air, and she like hits the branch, and she's like fully human. I feel like, or like, I don't know. This really cool action sequence in my brain. I'm getting tired.
I like that.
I'm so sorry.
No, I like that action sequence. I was trying to remember. I thought she just like morphed, curled up on the floor of the forest.
Yeah.
I could be wrong.
I don't know.
I don't.
We
have
just
a very
read this
good
book
memory
like
of this.
today.
Honestly, it's been hours since I finished it, and already I'm like, yeah, I don't really remember it because it's just such a dense action sequence that I have troubles following past Tobias grabbing her.
Cool.
Because that's what I remember. Like, all right, got her, and that's really where it ends too.
Is it? Yeah, they managed to escape somehow.
Yep. And then they make a comment about like...
Oh. What? Yeah, and they make a comment about what?
Next time. And Marco's like, there's going to be a next time?
Oh, and Rachel left Melissa a note in her locker that says her dad loves her very much.
Yeah. Which they acknowledge it's a security breach, but it's something they do, and I think something they need at this point.
Yeah.
They need to know they're fighting for someone's.
Yeah.
And Jake does something similar too coming up.
Mm-hmm.
I won't say any more than that.
Okay.
But yeah, it's sad.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the up note they try to leave us on. They're like, oh, look, she left her a note that's so sweet and wonderful. But it's really just like, hey, your he loves you.
Yeah.
Have this mysterious note saying your dad loves you. And they're like, well, she was really happy at practice that day. Well, yeah, but when she went home, her dad was still a controller.
Yeah.
Things are still messed up.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know either. I don't know.
Let me just look through my notes real quick. Oh, they also mentioned the Council of 13 for the first time in this book.
All right, I didn't spoil that too far ahead then.
Yeah. No, I already knew about it when you talked about it last episode.
Good.
But,
Thank God.
But yeah, I was like, what? Council of 13? Is that like Organization 13 from Kingdom Hearts? Like, what is that?
I don't know anything about Kingdom Hearts.
Really?
I know that you play as a guy with a key sword.
That's basically it's a very convoluted storyline. Anyway, so the Council of 13 or whatever. Why is it 13?
Because it's an unlucky number.
Okay.
I do not know the real reason. I just threw that out there. I'm sorry.
So apparently there's a council of baddies.
13 of them, yeah.
13 baddies.
13 baddies.
And that's going to come into play later, I'm sure.
Yes, it is. It is. I have a question about them too, but I can't ask you because we're not there yet.
All right. I think that's it as far as like any questions. Like I have some general questions about like how it feels to have a yerk in your head, but we can save that for later.
All right, that does come up soon.
Okay.
And there's a very good description of it, a very intense description of it.
Okay.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Rachel was a cat, and she did stuff.
Yeah,
that's what happened in the book.
And her and Tobias they had their moments in this book, which I loved.
OTP.
OTP. That was my first pair that I repped. Marco, not much of him in this book.
Nope.
But what we do have of him is mostly him protesting.
Yeah.
Cassie, not surprisingly for being Rachel's best friend, I
don't feel it.
No, I don't feel it, and I don't know that I ever like truly feel it.
Yeah. Okay.
Like they just don't have enough interactions.
Like I definitely feel. I feel like it's. Yeah, I definitely feel like Rachel and Jake, Rachel and Tobias, and even Rachel and Marco have like a rapport in some way. But I never really see her interact with Cassie just yet.
Yeah.
Apart from like the narration being like, oh, they were best friends. They would do these things together.
Melissa is my second best friend
behind
Cassie.
I was like, is she?
Is she though? Do you ever do anything together?
I don't know.
Do you ever have fun together?
No.
It does. You know what? I take that back. It does come through in some instances, but like in these first books that we've read, they just don't have enough interactions. So,
but in future books they may.
In future books they may.
We'll just have to find out in the next episode. So yeah, any other wrapping up thoughts about the Visitor?
How do you feel about Rachel as a person after this book?
I don't know. She's kind of a hothead, and I feel like it might get her in trouble in future books. But I don't know. I think she's kind of badass. She's like the OP like fighter of the group, kind of like the reckless like Rachel rushes in type character. I don't know. But again, I've only read Rachel and Jake so far. So I'll have to, like, reserve my judgment until the future. I'm getting really tired, so words are hard to come by.
No, I am The reason I'm asking is because I'm just so interested in how you feel about the characters now, and then when I'm gonna ask again, like later on, I want to be able to play your answers back to you and be like, remember when you thought this thing? How do you feel about it now?
They betrayed me.
Oh, but that's all I had.
Okay. Cool.
All right. We better shut this down before we reach our 2-hour time limit.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. 1:46 now.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. We went on a lot of tangents. But that's okay.
I like tangents. Tangents are good.
I like them. It's a very naturally flowing conversation.
It's cosines that are a problem.
Oh, yeah. Fuck that shit.
Math
Fuck
joke.
that isosceles bullshit.
Oh, God.
All right. Thanks, listeners. We'll see you next time.
See you next time.
Bye.